Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Whiskey Talk with Mario. Today, I am launching my first YouTube video. So, this is going to be the Whiskey Talk with Mario YouTube channel. Those of you guys who are new to my videos, welcome. I'm going to talk a little bit, introduce myself, talk about what this channel is going to be about, what this podcast is going to be about. And for those of you who have been following me since Spotify, thank you for your ongoing support. I hope that I'm able to reach more people with this YouTube channel. All right, let's get started. So, why is this channel or this podcast called Whiskey Talk with Mario? Do I talk about whiskey? Do I talk about all the different great whiskeys there are? Well, no, I don't actually. But the reason it's called Whiskey Talk with Mario is because these are the type of conversations you have with your buddies while you're sipping on a glass of whiskey, relaxing, smoking a cigar. You know what I mean? It's that type of conversation is what I like to start. So today we are going to be sipping on Jim Beam and a little bit of Diet Coke in a big ass ice cube. Outstanding. All right. Without further ado, let's begin. Today's topic, my very first YouTube topic, is going to be one that's already been explored over and over and over. But I think it's a very interesting topic to hear people's journey and understand where they're coming from. One thing after what happened with Trump attempted assassination, I feel like it's important to get away from the division that's going on right now in the political atmosphere and try to create some form of unity between American citizens, even non-American citizens, just people who live here who want to coexist, you know? And so my goal is to kind of hopefully present my argument to you for those of you who don't agree with me, and so that you can see me from a more human perspective. You don't see me as an enemy, as an other. You see me as a human being, somebody who is just like you, just has different views. Because at the end of the day, that's what it should be. Today's topic or title of the topic is going to be Why I Left the Left. Yeah. I know, like I said, it's already been explored by different people, but it's important that we talk about it. And it's interesting to hear people's journeys. So, first things first, go ahead and check out if you are new to my channel, to my podcast, check me out on Spotify. If you only want to hear the audio, check me out on Spotify. It's going to be Whiskey Talk with Mario on Spotify. Just search that. If you don't have Spotify, I'm on Apple Podcasts. I'm on Google Podcasts. All your favorite podcast platforms on there. If you want to watch the videos, keep tuning in. So, first things first, I grew up very, very liberal. And when I mean liberal, I grew up in LA, in South Central Los Angeles, and my high school was House of the Democrats. I went to Thomas Jefferson High School, and our mascot was Thomas Jefferson, a Democrat. And so from an early age, we were taught that Democrats were the good guys, Republicans were the bad guys. Democrats were for the working class, Republicans were for the rich and powerful. And so I grew up thinking this. Uh, when I turned 18, the first person I was ever able to vote for was Obama, and I voted for Obama. And a lot of people were on my team. A lot of people that I hung out with were on my team, and I got a lot of pats on the back. I remember I was in Boston at the time. I was going to school in Boston. I was wearing a Obama shirt. I walk out of this Dunkin' Donuts, and this guy comes up to me. He's like, "Hey, my brother, I just want to say thank you for supporting us." And I said, "Yeah, that's right, brother." And I walked away feeling all good about myself. So, some folks saw it as, you're directly supporting my people because when Obama comes into office, we're all going to make it. And so That's what being a liberal, being a Democrat meant back in those days. It was a cool thing to do. Um, just to give you an example of how liberal I wasn't just one of these Obama voting Democrats or any of that. Like I was on the left. Like I remember the Occupy Wall Street movement. Well, that spiraled out of control, went all over the nation. It was Occupy Wall Street. It was Occupy City Hall in LA, all city halls and all across the nation. Occupy this, occupy that, occupy whatever. I went to the Occupy marches. I was there marching day in and day out with my little banner, my little flags, my camera. I was recording all this stuff. So I was part of that movement, the Occupy movement. And I was up there screaming, F the 1%, F the 1%. We are the 99%, not understanding what I was talking about, not really understanding the economy. I was just repeating what I was hearing, what I was hearing my peers say. And so, you know, uh, I went to the Occupy marches. I went even deeper into this rabbit hole, and I started affiliating with the American or the Communist Party of America. So I started going and doing performances. I used to do rap music, and I used to do live performances at different events. And I started kind of rubbing elbows with people from the Communist Party, and they started telling me, "Hey, come, check out what we have to say. We're having this event going on." So I started inviting me to different events, and I started attending. I started becoming friends with them, and a lot of my friends were commies. So I started considering myself a communist. I would donate to these causes. I would join the marches. I would join the rallies, all that, all the protests, all that. I was there when the May 1st protest happened in LA. I don't know if you guys remember, but the biggest march in history in LA. I'm talking. Look it up. May 1st march in LA. I mean, everything, every street in downtown LA was covered with protesters. So I was part of that movement. Uh, I then I started listening to music that backed up what I thought was the truth. So information bias, if you've ever heard of that. So I kept getting more and more information bias through friends, through peers, through music that I was listening to, through movies. I remember watching the Che Guevara movie with Benicio del Toro, and I got all hyped about it, and I was like, yeah, revolution. So I started listening to Immortal Technique. And now, Immortal Technique, I wouldn't say is a socialist or a communist, but he definitely has a lot of elements in his music that depict socialist ideals. So I started listening to this. He talks a lot about revolution. I started rocking the Immortal Technique shirts with the flag upside down. You know, I mean, I started thinking I was a revolutionary. I started thinking I was like, man, badass. So I started getting into guns at that age because revolution, guns, like I thought I was a badass. I thought I was a revolutionary. I looked at myself in the mirror and I would be like, man, I'm such a badass, right? But let's keep this going. One thing that was consistent with me during that period of my life is that I blame the system for everything. Now, when I was young, my father got arrested, and I blame the system for that. I blame the police. I blame judges. I blame the justice system. I blamed everybody, and so I had a hate for cops. I had a hate for police, for law enforcement, for authority, and I walked around with a chip on my shoulder. And I remember I used to get stopped by police a lot when I was younger, and I would always say, "Oh man, they're fucking racist pigs. This is discrimination. They're profiling me." And it wasn't a good relationship that I had with police at the time when I was young, and my hate for them grew. And I thought everything was racist. Um, when right around 2015, before that, right around 20, actually, it was around 2012, 2013, like during the birther movement with Obama, I started hating Trump so much. This is when Trump's name really started to come out. Trump's been famous forever, but his name really started to come out during the birther movement for a lot of people of my generation. This is when we started to get to know more about Trump. Obviously, he had the show The Apprentice. Some of us watched that. I never watched that. But when he started questioning Obama's citizenship and saying, "Hey, you're not from the U.S. You know, you got to prove to us. Let me see your birth certificate." I thought that was racist, and I thought it was unnecessary, uncalled for, and so I hated Trump during that age, during that period. And so, obviously, we're gonna get into that right now. But um, there's one thing that turned me off from the left, even though I was deep into that Democrat, voting for the Communist Party, like rallying and shit like that. Um, One thing that turned me off from the left was the idea of gun control. I always, like I said, I always liked guns, and I was like, man, if only they got on the same page that guns are not the problem, people are the problem. We have a deeper issue than just guns, and that was I started becoming a gun enthusiast before I left the left. But that was one of those turning points for me. It was really the gun issue because a lot of my peers didn't agree with me. And they even went to the point where they would have heated arguments with me about this topic. And I was like, yo, I'm just saying I like guns. Guns are good. They're good for self defense and protection and whatnot. And it's a right that we have in the US, Second Amendment. Well, a lot of my peers didn't like that. So it was one of those turnoffs, but it wasn't one of those things that was a deal breaker. I was like, no, I'm still on the left. I'm still down with the homies. I'm still down with the Communist Party. It's just that these people are a little afraid of guns. We just got to teach them what's up. And I, oh shit, I used to do security at the time. And because of the way my life was going, I felt like I was going nowhere. I joined the military. But when I joined the military, I went overseas and I met a bunch of people from every different background you can think of. I'm talking people from Nebraska, from Kentucky, from New York, from Boston, anywhere you can think of in the U.S. in the Midwest. I met people from all over the world. So because of the military, I started to see a different perspective. I met conservative people who were nothing like what I thought, conservatives were. I always thought conservatives, Republicans, they were racist. They didn't like people like me. So initially, I kind of clashed with some of these people. Um, Especially there was this one guy who was my friend. To this day, we're brothers. That's I mean, I would give up my life for that dude, and vice versa. I know he would for me. But at the time when I first met him, I couldn't stand this dude because I saw him. I saw a white guy, a racist white guy, and I I was thinking he was looking at me like I was nothing, like I was less than him. But this was all in my head, right? These were thoughts that were not confirmed. This is just the way I thought. And I got to know him and I realized real quick, oh, this guy is fucking awesome, dude. This dude is just like me, just a white redneck dude from Nebraska. But we are alike more than we are different. And we used to argue. We used to sit and argue. At the time, I was a Bernie supporter. He was a Trump supporter. We used to go back and forth and argue. But at the end of the day, like I knew this motherfucker had my back and I had his back. We had that bond, that trauma bond, but also that the bond, of going through dangerous situations, sometimes some messed up situations, but we had each other's back all the time regardless of what we thought about each other's views in politics or music or whatever. And the same story went with him and different people that I met people from Georgia, from Alabama. So right then and there, just being exposed to people from different places, that started to change my perspective a little bit. Hey, maybe what I thought was a reality is not a reality. Maybe I had it wrong this whole time. Maybe these conservatives don't really see me the way I thought they saw me. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. Was there some racist jokes thrown here and there? Yeah, it's obvious, man. We would poke fun at each other for our race, for our height, for everything. But at the end of the day, it was never personal. Um, so while I was out there, I started to listen to Tucker Carlson. He had that YouTube channel from Fox, and he used to do clips, and I used to watch his clips, and I used to be like, yeah, I kind of agree with him. I remember he got me interested in what he was saying when he came out, and he was still working for Fox at the time, Tucker Carlson. And he came out and he started talking about, um, the crime statistics, and he was saying how, hey, look, this is not a liberal or conservative issue. This is an issue, period, for everybody in society. Like soft on crime, or these laws, these policies that go soft on crime, and they release criminals into society. You know, they're not good. It is not a matter of politics. It's a matter of safety, public safety. Why is public safety politicized? So I remember hearing Tucker Carlson talk about that, and I was like, he's kind of making sense. Let me keep hearing what he has to say. And so I'm listening, I'm listening. And after watching that clip, I thought to myself, wow, I actually agree with the majority of things that this guy's saying. I still consider myself a lefty. I was still supporting Bernie at the time. But you know what happens with the algorithm? You watch one thing and then boom, you get flooded with other stuff. So I was introduced to people like Larry Elder, Candace Owens, Crowder, what's his name? Uh, Tim Pool, like all these names, right? All these conservative names. One of the ones that really caught my attention was Larry Elder, and what was the other guy? Dave Rubin. Dave Rubin was a liberal as well. He used to work for the Young Turks, TYT. After he had a conversation with Larry Elder, he started to transition from being very liberal to libertarian to then conservative. So that caught my attention. I was like, well, what's this guy journey like? Like, why is he all of a sudden turning more conservative when he was a liberal? I didn't understand what was the idea behind this. So I got curious and started listening more to him. And a lot of the things he was saying made sense. A lot of things that Larry Elder says make sense. And so that introduced me to people like Jordan Peterson. I mean, all these people who happen to be conservative. And I was still listening to people on the left, but I was also listening to people on the right. And I had a wider view, a wider perspective. I had experienced things for my own that no one was telling me anymore. No one was telling me, hey, people from Nebraska, from that neck of the woods, they're kind of racist. No, I experienced talking to these people. I experienced dealing with these people, and I had made my own conclusions based on my own experiences. Okay, so let's see here. Girls, let me down a rabbit hole. Conservative content creators needs to realize. So one thing is that while I was in the military, I met a lot of people who were police officers. I dealt with a lot of police officers. My job in the military was military police, or master of arms. And through that, I made a lot of friends that were civilian cops, and same fucking thing. Exactly what happened with Brett Meyer and them. I realized, yo, these people aren't actually racist. Oh, now I see the reason why they stopped people that looked like me when I was young is because I look suspicious. I met the description of a criminal. I had the uniform of a criminal on. Do you get what I'm saying? I was wearing the uniform of a criminal, baggy pants, sagging, long t-shirts, hat all the way down, covering my eyes, almost damn near covering my whole face, right? I'm walking around like I got, like I got a weapon in my pants, like I'm trying to act hard, you know what I mean? Like I am looking for trouble. I am looking like I am looking for trouble. So I'm walking. If I'm out of school and I get picked up by the cops for truancy, and I'm mad at the cops for that, like, come on, dude. I used to get handcuffed and get put in the back of the car. And they used to take me right back to school, and I was there bitching the whole time, like, man, you guys are racist. You guys profiling me. Now that I got older, I'm thinking, no, they weren't profiling me. I was a kid that looked like and dressed like a criminal. I was out of school when I should have been in school. They had every right to pick me up and take my ass back to school. They could have taken me to jail, but they took me to school. So, I started with what that did for me, meeting these people and understanding different perspectives, is it gave me a sense of self accountability. I started to look at things from an interior perspective. Oh shit, damn, I was busy blaming the system. My dad didn't go to jail because of the system. My dad went to jail because he made decisions that landed him there. It wasn't the system. It wasn't the cop's fault. It wasn't the judge's fault. My dad did stuff that got him locked away. And so once I started looking at things from that perspective, self accountability, my perspective started to change even more, shift a little more to the right. Right, I'm going clockwise now, going clockwise, changing, changing. Okay, a couple things that kept me going further and further to the right. I already talked about Second Amendment. I got deeper into Second Amendment, to guns. I'm a gun enthusiast. I love guns, and so I met a community of people on the right who were conservatives who were also gun enthusiasts. And now I'm hanging out with people who are gun enthusiasts, who are law enforcement officers, who are in the military, and I was still holding strong to my beliefs. Like, I'm still on the left. I still support Bernie. I don't give a fuck. But little by little, I'm turning that knob to the right, clockwise, moving to the right, moving to the right. And then uh see I started listening to people like, and these are the people that changed my life. Jocko Willink and David Goggins, these two people. Now, while they don't consider themselves conservative or whatever, a lot of their views do align with conservative views, with views on the right. Everything from family values, everything from gun ownership, everything from self accountability. Like, those are all concepts that mostly people on the right agree with, or people on the right follow. And it's not about the system. It's not about politicians, but you, and only you. And I was like, okay, cool. I started listening to these people with more shifted my views, and it kept getting more to the right and more to the right. Then the big incident happened with what was his name? George Floyd. When George Floyd happened and the whole Black Lives Matter movement started, exploding, this is when I really started to shift, because I saw what happened to my community. Everything was destroyed. The riots, people were killed that shouldn't have been killed. Business owners, random innocent people were killed in these riots. I'm not saying that the Black Lives Matter movement caused the riots. I'm saying that it was connected, because there were people that were taking advantage of the protests, and they were destroying everything. And I started to wonder, why are we doing this in the name of George Floyd? What's going on here? Then the Kyle Rittenhouse thing happened. And at the time, I was against Kyle. I was like, Kyle's an asshole. He shouldn't have killed those people. He killed innocent people. And then later we find out negative. There was a predator, one of the people that Kyle Rittenhouse killed. And then the other two were trying to attack him. One of them pulled a gun on Kyle. So Kyle, the whole time, was defending himself. He wasted a child predator, and this whole idea that he crossed state lines to go cause trouble. No, he was in his community. These are things that you were lied about. We were all lied about on the news, saying that he crossed state lines from another state. His parents drove him over. So all these things were not true. Kyle was actually in his own community, defending his own community. He went out there without the intent. He was actually providing medical aid for people. He had a first aid kit. He was providing medical aid for people, but he had a rifle in case anyone attacked him, which did end up happening. He got attacked. He ended up, shooting people. And at the time, I was pissed off. I was like, Kyle, fucking asshole, piece of shit. This is why the right, has all these problems. Come to find out, negative. He was actually in the right the entire time. So we were lied about that. We were lied about a lot of things. We were lied about the George Floyd situation. Um, so Seeing the hypocrisy that was coming from the left kind of started to shift me more and more and more. And as you can see, there was a trend of me shifting further and further and further to the right. And then here's where it got interesting. Uh, when I was on the left, I accepted the whole idea of, I consider myself a atheist. And the reason I consider myself an atheist is because in college, I was majoring in history, and I learned about the history of religion, how religion came to be, how my ancestors were forced into Christianity, and I started to think, okay, this is fake, this is not real. Everything I was thought was a lie. So I abandoned religion. Well, as I got older, I reconnected with God. And it wasn't because I forced myself or someone forced me. It was really a natural process to which I ended up reconnecting with God. But by reconnecting with God, it solidified that I was now becoming conservative. Um, Christianity, I remember I was meditating one time, and I came to realize, oh shit, I was a better person when I was a Christian. Like living under Christian values made me a better person, a more peaceful person, a more uh, how do I put it? Someone with a purpose, right? So having those values, those Christian principles, gave me a purpose, gave me a guide, something to follow, a moral guide, and I needed that in my life at the time because I was going all over the place. I was shifting all over the place, and my life was a mess. So I needed guidance. I needed structure, and I came to the realization: hey, Christianity kept me there. It kept me straight. It kept me with those guidelines. It kept me, with a vision, with a forward vision. And so I reconnected with God, and that gave me structure because now I knew what I was looking for in a partner, in a domestic partner. I was looking for family values, conservative values. Uh, you know, I didn't want to be all over the place like other people looking for love in all the wrong places or being promiscuous or whatever the case may be. No, I wanted something solid and I knew what I was looking for. Once I knew what I was looking for, my life became even better because now I had a purpose. Now I was living on a purpose. I was moving forward, moving straight, and I knew exactly what I was looking for. I wasn't wasting time. I wasn't entertaining people, friends, or possible partners. I was entertaining people that didn't match my values. So that helped me find someone who connected with me as well, a domestic partner that I connected with on that level. Friends, it helped me minimize my circle of friends. Who here sees sees me eye to eye? Who here has the same values that I have? We can be friends. We can grow together. And that's what solidified my conversion from being on the left to fully being on the right or being a conservative. Uh, Now, what type of conservative am I? Because there's different types of conservatives. There's the evangelical conservative, the what do they call them? The bulldog conservative, the Tea Party conservative. But then there's the MAGA conservative, the Make America Great Again Trump conservative. And those are very different people. They are not the same. And the reason being is because the MAGA conservative are very, how do I put it? They prioritize American values, America First movement. And what that means is, for example, we don't believe in funding any country for for their wars. We don't believe in overthrowing governments. We don't believe in any of this. It is not our business. We don't belong there. We should keep our money to ourselves. We should feed, we should help our people. We should give our people an opportunity to grow. We shouldn't be out there giving money to foreign countries so they can fight their wars. Shouldn't be getting involved. None of that. America first. Why are we tunneling money to Ukraine? Why are we tunneling money to Israel when there's all these people here in America that need help? There's families, the middle class is disappearing, and yet we're spending millions, billions of dollars overseas on other countries, not on ourselves. That's the America First movement. That's the Trump movement. That's the type of conservative that I consider myself. More not interventionist conservatism. Yeah, that's exactly what we are. Uh, we're also against anti woke policies like I don't know if you guys are aware of BlackRock and Vanguard, right? BlackRock, Vanguard, they're investment companies, and these two companies are extremely powerful because a lot of smaller companies they have to go through BlackRock and Vanguard, in order to get and make investments, in order to get funding. So all these small companies listen to BlackRock and Vanguard. So the reason why you've been hearing about that lately is because these companies have a lot of influence on everything from social media to television, radio, to companies like Target and anything that promotes woke shit. Okay, anything that promotes woke shit, it all goes through Vanguard. It all goes through BlackRock. If you look at the connections, who was a major player in those two companies, George Soros. So this is where you start getting into conspiracy theories. Is it true? Is it not true? You know what I mean? Like it's a rabbit hole, but to each their own. I'm gonna leave it right there at that point. I'm not gonna go into rabbit holes. I'm not gonna go into conspiracy theories. What I am gonna say, however, is that damn, I couldn't breathe with these glasses. Is that I am not anti-liberal. I don't hate liberals. I don't hate people on the left. I just wish that we can sit down and have a conversation without some of you losing your fucking mind. I wish we sit down across from each other, have a glass of whiskey, and just like me and my boys, me and my brother Bredemeyer, who I was talking about, when I first met him, I couldn't stand him. I was the crazy one. Homie was chilling. He was like, "Hey man, I'm not racist. I don't know why you keep calling me racist. Because you're fucking racist." Okay. So now that I've been on both ends, people on the left are very, how do I put it, intolerant, I guess, to hear other ideas. They don't tolerate a different perspective. And that's a major issue. One of the reasons why I'm so turned off from the left, I would never go back, is because of that. There can never be a conversation. The minute something is said that's triggering, the conversation goes downhill. And I've been there. I've had those conversations and it just goes down fucking hill. I wish I can have a conversation with you guys. I wish we can sit down and discuss our differences and discuss solutions, how we can make America great, how we can make it better, how we can go back to a time when we were unified. I have no hate for you guys. I have no hate for liberals. I have no hate for Democrats. A lot of you guys are great people. I know a lot of you guys, family members of mine, friends, great people. But when we start talking politics, everything just goes down the shitter. And I don't understand why. It should not be at that point. We should be able to sit down and have these conversations and then have a glass of whiskey, have a cigar, go on with our lives. But it's not like that for whatever reason. We're so divided. I've never in my life seen so much division. I came up during the time of the 9/11 attacks, and I saw the unity during that time. It's almost like everyone was on the same page. American flags everywhere. I mean, it was great. What happened to that? All of a sudden, we're at each other's throats. We can't stand each other. They're the enemy. We're the enemy. Everyone's the enemy. That movie, Civil War, I mean, it depicted exactly what could happen in this country because we're at odds with each other. I don't understand. But if you're listening to this, if you're still sticking to this, if you didn't click away, then you know what? I kudos to you. I respect you for that. Maybe you're not going to change your perspective. You're going to continue to vote Democrat. You like Kamala Harris, whatever the case may be. Trump is evil, whatever the case may be. But if we can reach a middle point, if we can reach a point of agreement and we can move forward and make this country work for everybody, then we've reached a level of success that we never thought was possible. That's all we need. That's why I like RFK Jr. because RFK Jr. is a guy who he's a mixed bag of politics. He's not necessarily a lefty. He's not necessarily on the right either. One of the things that really caught my attention from him was his stance on gun control. When he said, hey, I want more gun control, but I'm not going to force Americans into gun control because there's people who see the Second Amendment as a priority. And for me to go and take away their guns or take away what they believe to be their right is wrong. He said, I much rather convince them that my way is the right way than to force them. And I like that. We don't have to agree on everything, but try to convince me. Maybe I can try to convince you. Maybe there's things that you don't have 100% correct. There's so much division on all these topics. I mean, if I just say Israel and Palestine, oh my God, that will raise so much hell, so much chaos will erupt from just me saying anything. Oh, you know what? I support Israel. Holy shit, what a bomb. You know what? I support the Palestinians. Holy shit, what a bomb. You can't support neither of those people and that be okay, right? Can I have my own views? Okay, people are getting slaughtered in Palestine. People are getting killed. People are getting bombed. I understand that. That's terrible. That shouldn't be happening. Okay, people were kidnapped. People were killed in Israel by Hamas. That shouldn't have happened. That's terrible. But two things can be true at the same time. Just because Israel got attacked doesn't mean that it's okay for Hamas, or I'm sorry, for Palestinians to get slaughtered. Just because Palestinians are getting slaughtered doesn't make it okay for them to, in return, go and kill innocent Israelis. Does that make sense? Two things can be true at once. But as an America First conservative, I believe in staying out of conflict, not supporting neither of them. Maybe, I mean, not financially, maybe standing up and saying, hey, you know what? We're going to be the bringer of peace. You guys cannot be at war. We're going to step in. Hey, you guys separate. I'm sorry. We're the big dog here. We run this shit. You, Israel, get your ass over here. Palestine, right here, the shit right here, neutral. Motherfuckers can't come over here and fight. Why? Because Big Daddy said so. Big Daddy America says negative. You can't come over here and just start fighting and shit. You got to separate, move apart. All right? Boom. Lay down the law. Bah. Drop it on the table. Drop it like it's hot. Tell these people, hey, you know what? All this shit is unacceptable. You cannot just come over here. My friend, listen, my friend. You cannot just come over here and start fighting each other. It's no good, my friend. He's bad. My friend, listen. You come here, pew, pew, pew. You come here, pew, pew, pew. Bah, no good. You die. It's no good. Okay? That's how we need to talk to these people. Whiskey's hitting, in case you haven't noticed. And it's also hot as fucking here. But this is basically what my channel, what my podcast is about. Drinking whiskey, getting drunk. Well, not drunk, getting tipsy. And just ranting, talking about current events, talking about politics, talking about everything that's happening in the world. Sometimes I deviate and I talk about life experiences. I talk about fitness. I talk about nutrition. Talk about different things. But the main topic here is current events, politics, news, all that good shit. All the stuff you want to talk about with your buddies when you're drinking whiskey. Oh, one more thing that may be very conservative. forget about this. Taxes, dude. Taxes. Nothing makes somebody more conservative than fucking taxes. When you're working a shitty job at McDonald's, I'm sorry, I did not offend you people at McDonald's. I didn't mean it like that. I'm sorry. When you're working a minimum wage job, okay, taxes, yeah, they're a bitch. But when you're working a job where you're getting paid way more and they're taking a shit ton of taxes from you, ouch. Now you're a fucking conservative. Look how fast you're gonna go vote for Trump. Get a job that pays you more. Work hard, earn your fucking money, and then get your check and then see what the fuck. These motherfuckers took most of my check. Hell no. I'm gonna vote for Trump. Trump said he's gonna cut taxes. By the way, Trump did say he was gonna cut income taxes. Let's hope he does. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that was today's topic. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We're gonna have a lot more where that came from. We're gonna be talking about current events, things that are happening around the world and in the U.S. So hope you enjoy this. Stick with me. It's gonna get better. Give me pointers, give me tips, whatever you think will make this podcast a lot better. Let me have it. Tell me, and I'll do my best. All right, I'm out.
And this was another episode of Whiskey Talk with Mario.